Our exhibit is Germany's Dictator, The Rise of Adolf Hitler. It's about Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Nazi Party. Hitler was born in Braunau am Inn, Austria on April 20th, 1889. He had a rough childhood, and most of his siblings died before they were 6. The only one that lived after the age of 6 was Paula, who was born in 1896. His father died in 1903, and his mother died in 1907, after which he moved to Vienna, Austria. He began living in poverty soon after, as he ran out of money. He moved to Munich, Germany in 1913 and was later drafted into the Austrian army, though he failed his physical, so he was not able to serve. He applied for the German army when World War I broke out, and he passed his physical, so he did fight in World War I until 1916, when he was injured in a gas attack.
In August of 1918, he returned to Munich, where he earned the Iron Cross, which is a German military award for bravery. He began work at a prisoner of war camp in November of 1918, and he later returned to Munich in 1919, where he took up political work with the German Workers' Party. In 1920, he was put in charge of the propaganda of the German Workers' Party, and later that year, they changed their name to the Nazi Party. In 1921, Hitler was jailed briefly for civil disturbance, and again he was jailed in November of 1923 for attempting to overthrow the German government known as the Beer Hall Putsch. From November 1923 to December 1924, he wrote his novel Mein Kampf, or My Struggle, while he was in prison, and this is a picture of his novel. In December of 1924, Hitler emerged from prison because of good behavior, so he served 8 months instead of 5 years.
He acquired the title of Führer after he got out of prison in May of 1926. Führer means leader. From 1926 to 1929 were deemed the quiet years. Hitler thought of these as the happiest years of his life, during which he fell in love with his half-sister's daughter, Jelly, though later she committed suicide. Germany started to refuse the World War I debt totals in April 1929, and in 1930, Mein Kampf became a best-selling book, and the Nazis were the second largest political party in Germany.
In February of 1932, Hitler became the Nazi candidate for president, but he lost to Paul von Hindenburg in the presidential election in April 1932. But in July of 1932, the Nazi Party controlled the Reichstag, or the German government, and the German reparation payments were put on hold. In March of 1933, the concentration camps started to be built. On June 30th, 1934, the Night of Long Knives occurred, where 77 people were executed. On July 25th, 1934, Chancellor Dollfuss was assassinated by the Nazis, and later, the next month, the President of Germany died, so Hitler assumed the roles of both Chancellor and President.
In 1935, Hitler violated the Treaty of Versailles, which was a pact formed by Europe saying that Germany could not have a military. He broke this by making mandatory military service in Germany. The Nazis revoked German citizenship of Jewish people in November 1935. In October of 1936, Hitler signed the Rome-Berlin Axis Accord with Mussolini, the dictator of Italy.
In January of 1937, Hitler formally rejected the Treaty of Versailles, and on January 24, 1937, the immigration of Jews was started. In April of 1937, all colored German children were to be illegally sterilized, and in 1938, Hitler and his party invaded Austria. In January of 1938, Japan got Hitler's support, and in September, the Munich Pact let Hitler take over Sudetenland, which is a part of Czechoslovakia. In November of 1938, the Night of the Broken Glass occurred, which was an anti-Jewish riot.
In 1939, Hitler invaded the rest of Czechoslovakia, after which he nullified treaties with Poland and Great Britain. The foreign ministers of Germany and Poland signed a military alliance on May 22, 1939. He broke this later when Germany invaded Poland, and the start of World War II occurred on September 1, 1939. Britain and France, because of this, declared war on them 2 days later, and the next week the Soviets attacked Poland.
In February of 1940, the construction of Auschwitz began, and Auschwitz is one of the most well-known concentration camps. In April of 1940, Germany invaded Denmark and Norway joined the Allies. the Japan and Soviet Union signed a neutrality pact, and later that year of 1940, more countries were attacked by Germany and other countries joined the Allies. On June 22, 1941, Germany invaded the Soviet Union, breaking their pact. On December 7, 1941, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor even though Hitler didn't want them to. So, Germany was forced to declare war on the United States on December 11, 1941.
By the start of 1942, 500,000 Jews had been killed by the Nazis. At the Wannsee Conference on January 20, 1942, the final solution, or Hitler's plan to kill all the Jews, was determined. The Germans were defeated at Stalingrad, which was the turning point of the war as the Germans started to lose on November of 1942. And from 1942 to 1945, about 18 million Jews were killed in the concentration camps, and 5 to 11 million were killed. Hitler's health began to deteriorate rapidly in 1943. On February 2, 1943, the Germans are forced to surrender to the Soviet Union. For the rest of the war, the Soviets advanced from the east, taking over Germany. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces landed on Normandy Beach in France in an event known today as D-Day. The Soviets invaded Germany in November of 1945. Shamed by this, Hitler married Eva Braun, his longtime mistress. On April 30, 1945, Hitler and Braun took cyanide pills, and Hitler also shot himself, ending both of their lives.